This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
All right, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the afternoon show presented by ESEN. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez and Jay McLevin. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, it's not going well. Texas lost, which we'll get into in more detail, so I won't go into that now. Astros lost. I won't tell you right now. We'll go into detail on that. I got to be honest with you. This weekend kind of sucked.
I had a pretty good weekend.
It kind of sucked.
I had a good weekend, but man, the Reds out of the last 11 games, they're 3-8, and it's hard to stay in. And the Mets have been winning, and it seems like when we do happen to win, the Mets win, so we can't gain any ground. We've lost ground. At one point, a week and a half ago, I think we was a half game back. Now we're 5. So they got to make a major move, and they got to do it quick if they want to have a chance. And it's not looking too good. San Francisco's tied with us now, so we'll see how it goes. We'll get into that in a minute. But you mentioned Texas. You mentioned some college football. Won't we go to that, Jay? I want to get your thoughts. I've seen some of your thoughts online, but I want to see what you think about this Texas team and Archie Manning and where you guys go from here.
Yeah, so right now, obviously, Texas is now in the 7th spot. It looks like Ohio moved up to that 1st spot. The game wasn't as bad as it's a bad that we took the L, but it really wasn't bad. And I don't know, I look at it from a lot of different perspective. If you watch that game, it was straight defense. That game was just straight up defense. And that's the one thing that I took away from this game in Texas is that we have a good defense. Like our defense, they did what they were supposed to do, right? They held Ohio State to 14 points. Gave them only 2 scores. What else could the defense do? When you figured the defense was on the field most of the time, I look at it as it's a defensive win, but an offensive woe, right? And you could also make the case, it's game 1. Ohio wasn't playing their best football, and really Ohio wasn't playing their best football. If you watch that game, I'm sure Ohio would tell you they didn't play their best football either. It's just our best football or our worst football was worse than their worst football. Offensively, I thought they did okay. They did obviously score 2 touchdowns. I feel like Saying came out and he looked pretty comfortable, looked pretty confident, which is what you want to see in a guy, that's going up against the number 1 ranked Texas, and has only had 24 snaps his whole collegiate career so far. So obviously for Ohio, that's a good thing for them to have a confident quarterback like that. I felt Archie kind of came out, and sometimes pressure. Some people can adhere to it, some people don't. I felt like maybe the pressure got to the pressure of the big game, the pressure of meeting the expectations, the pressure of being a Manning. I felt a lot of that. You could see a lot of that was on him. You could see when he came out, he didn't look like he had that full confidence that I like to see in my quarterback. He looked like a little bit unsure of himself at times. And if you watched 4 throws were overthrows, and I think the 5th overthrow actually wound up being an interception. And then you look at the one where they were as 14-7. I think it was in the 4th quarter. Texas had a really good drive going for themselves. It looked like they were going to be able to get in within the 20-yard line and get into scoring distance. And it came up. It was a 4th down play, and I think they needed like 3 yards. There was a guy out in the flat. I forget. I remember the name of the guy, the receiver right offhand, but there was a receiver out in the flat. Archie's rolling to his right. The guy is maybe about 10 yards away from him. And what does Archie do? There's not a defender around Archie. There's not a defender around the wide receiver. You could probably easily get 10 to 15 yards when you look at the scenario if it's a completed pass. And what I mean by that is Archie wound up underthrowing him by about, I would say, at least 2 to 3 feet because the receiver had his hand all the way back and just touched the football, but not all of this. It's probably about 2 to 3 feet underthrown. But had that ball either been A, on target, or B, just a little bit ahead of him to where it would have caught him in stride, that could have easily been, a 1st down and possibly in the 20-yard line. And it wound up being underthrown. They turned the ball over on downs. Ohio takes it back. And, of course, then the game comes to an end. But there were several times when Archie just wasn't there on his passes. I mean, you could tell he wasn't there on his pass. If you watch that game, you knew he wasn't there on his passes. He wound up having 170 yards. I think he did have a touchdown, and he had an interception, and I think he had a quarterback rating of, I want to say it was just right at around 100. I mean, his quarterback rating was actually pretty good. The problem was it just wasn't good enough to get past this team. And I gotta tip my hats to Ryan Day. I mean, clearly he is a defensive coordinated kind of guy, and it showed in his defense that he was clearly good on the defensive side of the ball. And ultimately, Texas was just outmatched. But I put a lot of that just on Arch. This is I don't know. Again, they have San Jose State. That's who they play next week or this week coming up, whatever. So that's going to be an easy game for them to go into. Let Archie get settled back into that offense. Let him get some of that confidence back in himself. And then let's go on and see what we have against the bigger teams coming up throughout the schedule. I got to tell you, at the end of the day, and I'll close with this, I'm not going to write off Archie Manning, even though a lot of my comments were like, fuck Archie Manning pretty much. The guy's a fraud and things like that. And I think that was just me being upset and angry at Archie. I don't know if that's really how I feel 100%. I got to see a little bit more from him. I will tell you this. I'm going to give him the first game. It is going against the defending champions. It is in Ohio. It is against a good coordinator. It is against a good defense. There's a lot. I'm gonna give him a little bit of slack. It ain't much, but I'm gonna give him just a tiny bit of slack. I'm gonna let him do the San Jose game, and then I want to see against. They got to play Georgia at some point. They got to play some bigger teams at some point. And it's that next big test that he comes up against. If he doesn't go out there like a confident Manning would go out there and play, then yeah, I'm gonna start saying this guy can't handle the biggest stage. I'm gonna give him slack on this one. But that next big game that we play, and it will be a next big one, I promise you. I'm gonna be a lot harder on him the next one.
I'm sure Arch Manning is going to be real worried about you being hard on him if he don't perform next game.
Chris, what's your takeaway with Archie?
Did he play great? No. Did he play so bad that the world's falling apart like people want to act? No. You had, in my opinion, two of the top three defenses in the country playing each other. Neither quarterback looked very good. Did that saying maybe look a little confident? Yeah, but he threw for 120 yards. If it went for that 140-yard touchdown pass, he wouldn't even have 100 yards in the game. So it ain't like he lit it up either. But nobody's talking about him because Ohio State won the game.
Yeah.
Texas lost the game. If Texas would have came back and won that game, nobody would have been on here bitching that Arch Manning was a fraud. Even if he had the exact same numbers, that score would have been flipped 14-7. It wouldn't be all the hate on Arch Manning right now. That's what bothers me. It's just because of the result. If you watch that game, did he play great? No, he didn't play great. It's first big college start. I don't take a whole lot away from the game. I think you're going to see these two teams play again in the playoffs. It could end up being for a national championship, and I think both quarterbacks will look a lot better than what they did in game one of the season. So, to me, I think a lot of people are overreacting. Did he play great? No, he didn't. I'm not saying he played great, but he also didn't play so bad that I hear people saying, "Oh, there's no way." That people talking about Heisman for him. There's no way. It's one game. He could come out the next 10 games and light it up. Like you just never know what's going to happen. Like, am I saying he's going to win the Heisman? No, but that's how it is now. We overreact to everything. Just like yesterday, Bill Belichick forgot how to coach football and is the worst coach ever. North Carolina is going to fire him tomorrow. Like it's just how the media is now. Everything gets overreacted to. Everybody needs to calm down, breath, and let it play out a little bit. I honestly think Arch is going to have a better year than what viewers did last year. I still believe that, and I think like I said, I think the best three defenses right now are. I'd say I'm going to go with four, but I'd go with you got Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, and LSU. defense looked real good over the weekend. Like,
It's good.
to me, the defenses I got to see over the weekend, them are the 4 best defenses in the country. So, like, if you had a bad game against anybody, hopefully it's against maybe the best defense in the country in Ohio State. Now, if Arch comes out and plays like that this week, then I'd be worried because he's not playing against the top defense.
Right.
But like, if you struggle a little bit against top defense in your first start of the season, hey, let's see what happens in the rematch, because I think both quarterbacks will look better. I think both offenses will look better if they play each other later in the season.
Well, if you looked at this past week, a lot of offenses didn't look good. Defenses kind of controlled for the biggest part, unless the team is just overmatched. But in the good games that we've seen, it was mostly defense. Other than Alabama, Florida State kind of even beat them worse than what the score said. But there's a couple things I took away. One is I didn't like Texas play calling. When they got down there to the goal line to try to score a touchdown, and the run plays they called and end up not scoring, I thought I didn't like it. I didn't like what they called. And, you need them not getting any points there. And that could have been, if you get a touchdown there or a field goal, that changes the game. Also, if you go back, Jay, and look at that pass that he got intercepted, I don't know if that was all Archie's fault. I think the receiver didn't go on the route like he was supposed to. And so I don't know if that was all on Archie. So you might take a look at that again. I think Archie will be fine. I think Texas is going to be fine. Of course, they're going to have a tough schedule, like Jay said. You're going to play Georgia. You're going to play some of them good teams, and it could come down to a final play. But I think they'll be in the playoffs. If they're not, I'll be surprised. I think Ohio State will be in the playoffs. Like Chris said, we may see that as a matchup. And heck, if they do the ratings right, you may see that the final 2 teams.
The one thing I want to interject here real quick, just kind of what Chris was saying. I think a lot of my frustration, and I guess the reason why I called him a fraud, is there was so much speculation on whether or not after this year he was going to turn pro and be a first rounder, or if he was going to stay in school and go to the 2026 season. His grandfather came out and said, yeah, Arch is going to play to the 2026 season. And Arch says, well, no, I don't know what Dad's talking about. I might go pro. My thing is, what I guess what I've always kind of got upset about is I understand he's a Manning, so this is going to be a conversation that was going to happen no matter what. But I feel like we are so there's so much attention on him not knowing if he's going to go pro or this, that, or the other. And this dude hadn't even done one competitive snap against a top-ranked team. I know what I'm saying. So when he goes out and he struggles, not that he had a bad game because he had 1 interception, 1 touch, 170. I think he did 17 for 30 passing. He didn't play bad, but we're so enamored with throwing this guy into the first round as if he's already earned that. We're not even the first game in, and I think that's where I was coming from. I was just so. There's so much hype built up around him that it was just like, bro, we are doing all this hype, and this dude hadn't even played 1 competitive snap against a competitive team. That's where I was kind of getting most of my. And I do agree that maybe that interception probably wasn't on him, Tony. I will go back and look at that a little bit more. It's just he had been overthrowing a lot during that game.
I get what you're saying, Jay, but the problem. My only thing is Arch Manning ain't the one that's putting the attention on that. It's all the outside media. You don't hear him putting the spotlight on himself or bringing that stuff up. He tries to, like, if you listen to his answers, he tries to keep the spotlight off of just him. He tries to make it about the team. So what you're talking about, that's more just the media and the outside that is hype. We hype people up way too soon. Not just
I agree.
It happens all the time.
Just like Sanders.
That's exactly what's hurting Shedeur Sanders right now. Is the media?
Oh,
hype.
heck yeah. Well, Sanders did look. Some of that I agree wasn't Sanders' fault, but you don't go splashing legendary and having a whole room called legendary.
No, I'm not even.
You know what I mean?
That,
that boy got to take some accountability for that mess.
I'm not even talking about that stuff. The media's hurting them now with the way they're acting, saying that the Browns are sabotaging them and all this. Because if the Browns end up cutting them, other teams ain't going to want it. Because what do you not want from your backup quarterback, Jay? You don't want people talking about your backup quarterback. You want your backup quarterback basically to nobody. You don't even want people to know who they are, really. And if
You know what's crazy? Just the
and the way the
attraction.
media is doing with Sanders with the hype, I think it's going to hurt him.
Oh, for
his
sure.
options on teams, because same thing with Cam Newton. A lot of teams didn't want Cam Newton because they didn't want him as a backup because of the hype that was going to come around him. And it's going, and the same, if this media keeps it up, it's going to happen the same thing with Shedeur.
Oh, for sure, it's going to happen. Real quick, hey Tony, just so you're tracking. So the next games they have are some very easy ones. So Texas plays San Jose State, then they got UTEP, then they got Sam Houston State University. Then October 4th, that's where he's going to really get challenged. You got Florida, number 13 ranked Florida on October 4th, and October the 11th, you got Oklahoma ranked number 18. And then they don't see anybody really again until Georgia on November 15th, and then they round it out with A&M November 28th. So there's a lot of easy games where he can really build that chemistry with that, to Chris's point, where he can build that chemistry. And then let's see what he looks like, come October 4th when we step up the competition and we got Florida coming back in the mix, followed up by Oklahoma. So, he's got some time to really get it worked out. Yeah.
I thought the SEC played the toughest schedules in the country. That sounds like a cupcake schedule to me for Texas.
Oh, man. That's what they say, and it's a tough division.
I mean, if Indiana would have been in there, I guess you could call it a cupcake.
Indiana plays the conference just as tough, or maybe tougher than the SEC.
Well, hey, we got a cupcake this week, but then we turn around on the 20th and we got 11th ranked Illinois.
Yeah, we got a tough schedule this year. We do. We got Illinois. We play Oregon, Penn State, I believe.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot tougher this year. All right, guys, let's move on to some baseball. Okay, guys, we got Blue Jays 2.5 up on the Yankees and the Red Sox, so that's getting close for that division. Also, we got the Tigers up 9 on Kansas City, so they're running away with it again. Tigers are the last couple of games they've not played well against the Mets. Mets have beat them last 2. Astros are up 3 on Seattle. Let's see here, the Phillies up 5.5 on the Mets. Brewers up 5 on the Cubs. The Dodgers up 2.5 on San Diego. Let's take a look at the wild card. Wild card right now: the Yankees, Boston, and Seattle, with Texas a 1.5 back. We got on the other side there the Cubs, San Diego, and the Mets. And behind the Mets is the Reds and San Francisco 5 back. So there's a little baseball update. Chris, let's go to you first, man. What are you thinking about our Reds, and what are you thinking about baseball in general? Who you liking right now?
Yeah, Reds have been struggling. We golfed well. I mean, we were on a 2 or 3 game winning streak till last night, but we got swept by the Dodgers. Lost a couple close games there that we had chances to win. Then we didn't. We played decent, played pretty good against the Cardinals, but then the series with the Blue Jays, we get a walk-off win on Monday night, which was a great game to watch. And then last night, you're supposed to have Lodolo on the mound when you're top 3 pitchers in your rotation. And a couple hours before the game, they have to scratch him because he's ill. And they go with the bullpen start. They start Barlow, and he gives up 4 runs in the first. Reds get 1 in the bottom of the first. And we put in a different pitcher, and he gives up 4 runs in the second, which the Reds did get 5 runs in the second. So it was only down 8-6 after 2 innings. But it was a crazy game yesterday. And then the Blue Jays would score a run, we'd score a run, but we just never able to. We missed taking the lead in the 8th inning just by a couple inches from with a home run. Guy robbed us of a home run there. That would have been a 3-run shot, and it would have gave us the lead. But yeah, we just came up a little short. But that hurt us not being able to start your pitcher. You got to go to a bullpen game like that. And I heard a lot of people was complaining, well, why didn't you move up on your other starters? Well, it ain't that simple when it's just a couple hours before the game. Yeah, he could have started the guy that was supposed to start today, but then what are you going to do today too? And then you're asking a guy to start on short rest, and you don't do that in the regular season. You do it on short rest. So I get why he didn't throw in one of the starters. I don't know if I'd have went with Barlow, but I think I might have went with somebody else besides Barlow. But anyway. But no, we got to win tonight, so we win the series against the Blue Jays, and then we have tomorrow off, and then we start a series with the Mets. And
That's a big series.
We need to sweep. We need to sweep them.
sweep.
If we don't, I know that's a tall task, but if we can't sweep them, we need, at least have to win that series, win 2 out
Gotta
of
win
3.
the series.
But yeah, we just our starting pitching's been real good. Hunter Green in the game before went real deep. We just we're hitting the ball, but we're not getting hits. Some key hits, like the game before yesterday on Monday, we ended up coming back and winning that game. But in the first 8 innings of that game, we had our leadoff batter on in 5 of those first 8 innings, and it only scored 2 runs up to that point. You can't get your leadoff hitter on 5 innings and only get 2 runs. If you get a runner, your leadoff guy on, you got to cash at least get 1 run. You got to cash that in more often than that. They were able to do it again. Hell, in the 9th, they got their leadoff hitter on again. We were able to cash in, and we scored 3 runs in that inning. And we came back and won that game. But we got to get more consistent because our leadoff guys are getting on base, but we're not moving them around. We got to get more consistent at moving them around. But no, Tigers are playing good. Yankees looked good last night. I watched some of that game. And then there's another game I watched the other night. Oh, Cubs. The Cubs, man, that's they're going to get tough out in the playoffs. I watched them play the Braves the last couple of nights, and it looked like there's times like they can explode on you. They look like they're out. Now, there's a couple times their defense. That's it's aggravating me about the Reds. But Cubs defense the other night looked like a little league team a couple times because I actually compared them to the Reds. I was like, at least the Reds ain't the only team that looks like a little league team on defense sometimes. But like the Reds, that's what has hurt the Reds a lot in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. It has been errors, not playing clean baseball, and that starts with the guy that's supposed to be the best player on our team, our star, De La Cruz, who leads the league in errors. And he's had 5 errors in the last 8 games.
Let me before we go to Jay.
In one of those games, he didn't play in the field. So in his last 7 games, he's had 5 errors.
Yep, and he played designated hitter at 1 game. Before we move on to Jay and we talk about some Astros, I want to ask both of you some questions real quick. What do you guys think? Blue Jays up 2.5 on New York and Red Sox. They hold on? The Blue Jays hold on to win that division, guys?
I'm gonna say yes. That I'll tell you what, that Blue Jays lineup is tough to get through. Bichette's been pounding the ball. Bichette's killed us this series, but he's been pounding the ball. Of course, you have Guerrero. I'm gonna say the Blue Jays are gonna hold on and win the division.
What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with Gonzo. I think the Yankees have been playing better as of late, but I'm still not a believer in their pitching staff, so that's why I'm still leaning towards Toronto. And Boston's playing good too. I don't leave Boston out of the equation. They've been playing really good. But I just think this is Boston's year in terms of taking the division. Now, how far they go after that, who knows? But I definitely think Toronto's going to take it. I think they have the better pitching staff.
Okay, we got the Phillies up 5.5 on the Mets, Brewers up 5 on the Cubs, Dodgers up 2.5 on San Diego. Do you think San Diego, the Cubs, or the Mets can catch those teams and maybe take first? I don't think the Mets or the Cubs can catch the Brewers or the Phillies. San Diego at one time I thought so, but they're kind of like the Reds. They ain't never been able to get over the hump. They actually got up a game on the Dodgers two weeks ago or so, but they haven't been able to get over the hump. Chris, is there any team that you like there that might be able to take the division?
Out of those, I agree with you. The only one I think has a shot would be the Padres. The Cubs aren't going to catch the Brewers. I don't see the Brewers collapsing. I mean, the Brewers would have to collapse, and I don't see that happening. I don't think the Mets are going to catch the Phillies either. I don't think the Phillies are going to collapse that bad because that's like 5 games.
Yeah.
I could see the Padres. If you had asked me a couple weeks ago, I probably would predict the Padres to overtake that division from the Dodgers. But they're the ones that has a chance, but I don't think they will. And the only reason I'm saying that because the Dodgers are getting some of their pitchers back over the last week and a half, 2 weeks. The Dodgers have gotten healthier on the pitching staff, and that's going to help them here down the stretch and in the playoffs because that's been their weakness is that. So I'm going to say the Dodgers hold on to the division, but out of them three, I think Padres would have the best chance.
What about you, Jay? What do you think? Is there any team there that you think that could catch a team?
Yeah, looking at these standings, the Mets are 5.5 back from Philly. I don't see Philly slowing down enough for the Mets to overcome them over these last, 4 or 5 series that we have left. I think Philly's going to wind up taking that. So I think that will relegate the Mets to a wild card. And you look at Milwaukee, again, 5 games ahead of Chicago. Even though I know Chicago's playing good ball right now, I just don't think they have enough time, I don't think, to overtake that 5-game lead with the way in which the Mets or the Milwaukee is playing. So I think Milwaukee will hold on. I think Chicago Cubs will still be a wild card. If anybody's going to take a division, it would be the Padres over the Dodgers, being that they're only 2.5 back. That gives them enough time to be able to do that. But like Gonzo said, LA is starting to get healthier now in their their rotation. And they have a really good rotation. Ohtani is starting to go longer in games. I think Ohtani would be ready to go come playoff time. So no, I think the division leaders are going to be the division leaders. I think the only chance right now would be if there was going to be a divisional change, would be with San Diego and LA. And but I still don't think that's happening. You go to the wild cards. I think that's really where the competition really is. And Chicago's +5, so I think Chicago's firmly in there. I think San Diego's kind of firmly in there at that +1. So now you're looking. The only real change I see is being between the Mets and Cincy, and you guys are 5 games back in the Mets.
Yeah.
And I just think with your schedule that you've got to go through, it's going to be a lot harder than anybody else in that wild card. In terms of because it only said it because of the amount of games that you have to make up.
Yeah. Well, the big key, like Chris said, we play the Mets a 3-game series. If we
Yeah,
really want to
that's going to be your opportunity right there.
If you can sweep them, then you really cut into it. So
Right.
that's a big key there. Let's go to the other side. Tigers are up 9. I don't think Kansas City's got a chance to catch them, but we do have a division that's getting pretty close. We got Houston. Houston, I believe, is up 3 on Seattle, and Texas is coming. So Jay, what are you thinking about your Astros with Seattle and Texas creeping back into things?
Yeah, Houston. I still don't really 100% know what to make of this team yet. We just got Garcia back in our rotation. I want to say it was about last. He came back during the last series, so he's only had about 1 or 2 games under his belt. I think it's 1 game actually, and he didn't do bad. I thought he played pretty good. I look at Javier, who's now I think in his 4th. I want to say his 4th start back from the IL, and he just put out 6 no-hit innings on his last one. They wound up getting the win on that. So I like the way Javier is bouncing back into midseason form. So I think Javier is going to be a good 3rd pitcher behind Hunter Brown and Valdez. Now it's just a matter of watching Garcia, and which way Garcia pitched really good his last time or that first time out after his rehab. So I expect him to round back into form. That gives us 4 really good starters. And then when you throw Jason Alexander, which, by the way, Jason Alexander gets to start tonight. He's 4-1 right now on his record with the Astros, and I expect Alexander to be that 5th really good starting in the rotation. So I think, hopefully we get Hader back right now. Abreu's doing our closing. Hopefully Hader will be back either the wild card round or possibly the divisional round, and we'll have our closer back. The biggest problem for Houston isn't the pitching at this point. Now it's the hitting. I hate to say it, but it's our hitting. We've been really anemic putting up runs. We get people on base, no problem. It's getting the guys into home plate that seems to be the issue. And that's something the Astros have really got to work hard on between now and October, is getting this offense back on track. And I'm hoping that Jake Myers, who Dana Brown came out today and said, Dana Brown said that Myers is about 1 to 2 weeks away from being back in the rotation. Now, when Myers went out of the rotation, he was batting .308. So if we can get a 300 batter back into our rotation, that would be a huge, enormous lift. Because then you got, then you would have, Altuve, Correa. Now that Christian Walker seems to have found his bat, he's hitting home runs now at a pretty steady pace. And then you throw in Alvarez, who hopefully throughout the month of September will round back into his full form. And then you throw Myers into that. That could be what solves our equation going into the postseason. Where I think that could be beneficial for Houston is that they haven't seen a full-fledged Astro team up to now, or by the end of September going into October. So maybe we can kind of surprise some people coming into that. I don't know, but we'll see. So you got to look back for Texas, man. At this point right now, the team I'm worried about most is Texas. Texas is quietly a game and a half behind Seattle for that third wild card spot. If that doesn't mean that Texas couldn't get the divisional, because if they're a game and a half out, I mean, who's to say? I mean, right, it's going to be like it was last year, where you got Seattle, Houston, and Texas all vying for that one divisional spot, and then whoever doesn't get it, the next best team should get the wild card. I don't think we have enough to get all three of those teams into the playoffs. I think between Boston and New York, I don't think they can do it, but it's going to be interesting to see who gets the wild card and who gets the divisional. The West, the AL West, is far from anywhere near being decided. So there's a lot of baseball still to be played in the AL West.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, guys, you guys ready for some football tomorrow night, man? We kick things off, man, and let's talk a little football. Let's talk about the AFC. Let's start with the East. The division is Buffalo, Miami, New England, and the Jets. Chris, let's go first with you. What are you expecting out of these four teams? Is there a surprise team you think maybe in this group, or do you think it holds true and going to be Buffalo again, or what are you thinking?
I think Buffalo. Excuse me. I think Buffalo wins the division again, but I do think the Patriots are going to be a lot better team this year than what they have been the last couple of years. I think Patriots probably will be second in that division. I don't expect anything out of the Jets or the Dolphins. I think Mike McDaniels will probably end up fired midway through the season from the Dolphins, and the Jets are the Jets. They're going to jet. But no, I think New England's going to be a lot better, but I still don't think they have enough to overcome Buffalo yet. So I like the Bills in the East.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like Buffalo. I mean, we'll see if Miami can step up. Like you said, I think this is it for the coach. They better step up or he's going to be gone. I don't think there's anybody can contend really with Buffalo. I think New England will be better. The Jets, who knows? I'm not expecting a whole lot. Jay, what do you think?
That's a good answer. Real good answer.
Appreciate the cues. There's nothing better than laughing when I know I'm messing up. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys all day long. But I'm going to get through this. I know Frankie's chomping at the bit to say his piece. So let me get through this real quick. Yeah, I think Buffalo, this is Buffalo's division. I think Miami can press them if Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy, stay on the field, and not go down to concussion protocol. I think Miami can press them. New England, I think New England is still trying to figure out what they got. I mean, they brought in some stuff. They've drafted some stuff. This is Vrabel's first time out, so I'm not really expecting a whole lot. I know Drake May is a good quarterback. I do think Drake May is going to be great. I think Stephon Diggs can be a cancer in the locker room, so I'm curious to see if that Stephon Diggs isms plagues New England. We'll find out. But ultimately, I think New England is still trying to figure themselves out with this rebuild mode. Jets, Aaron Glenn, I'm curious to see what they do. I know the Jets, I don't expect nothing out of the Jets, but I want to see how they respond to having a new coach in Aaron Glenn and what he does bring to the Jets. I'm curious to see what Justin Fields brings to them and find out, what he's going to do. So there's some question marks around the Jets. If I had to put this in order, I would say Buffalo, Miami, New England, and the Jets is how I see that panning out, that division panning out.
Okay, Frankie, what's your take on the East?
I'm gonna go the same way as Gonzo. I'm gonna go Buffalo number one. just because, Josh Allen is a top tier quarterback, and he could do it with kind of a hurt receiver or not 100% receiver. He could do it with a receiver that just came off the bench. He could do it with the water boy. They just threw pads on him because they needed a person on the field. And they say, hey, water boy, we're gonna pay you another $15,000 to go out there and catch passes from Josh Allen. Next, he's a freaking superstar. So I think Buffalo is gonna come out on top of that one. I do think that New England is going to be second. I don't care what anybody says. I think New England is going to be second. And I hear what Jay is saying. He thinks we're still finding our stride, and Mike Vrabel and all these other things. But clearly, you haven't seen preseason. Clearly, you haven't seen the starters playing preseason. And I guess we'll just have to show you when the season starts. But don't grab that mic. Put it back. Don't interrupt. Don't do nothing. Put it back. Put it back. Push the mic back. There you go. I think Miami is going to be in third. Obviously, Miami is always dealing with health injuries. Tyreek Hill, he starts the season off unhealthy, and then towards the middle of the season, they're just blaming it on Tyreek Hill, not being healthy throughout the whole year. Even their running back is starting the year off not healthy. So I think that's going to be a problem with Miami. They always have a problem with being healthy. And even Tua Tagovailoa, and I'm going to say it again slowly for Jay to understand the name right, because he said Tagovailoa. It's Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa. All right.
Tua Tagovailoa.
No, you said Tua Tagovailoa, but it's okay. And then the Jets are always the Jets. The Jets are always the Jets. You guys know this. Since day one, I'll tell you guys that the Jets will always be the Jets, no matter who's their quarterback, no matter who's their receiver, no matter how good the defense is. You can have a great coach. You can have a great offensive-minded coordinator, a great defensive-minded coordinator. You can have Jerry Jones, right, as your owner. I don't care. The Jets are the Jets. They'll always be a bottom barrel to the AFC East. And I guarantee the Jets will walk out this season with a maximum of 3, probably 4 wins.
Okay. Let's move on to the West, guys. Jay, we'll start with you. We got Denver, Kansas City, the Raiders, and the Chargers. What do you think about that division?
Yeah, this division really, really intrigues me a lot because there's so much that's happened over the offseason, so many acquisitions over the offseason that makes this division really, really interesting. I'll start with let me start with the Raiders first of all. You bring in Kenny Pickett as your backup quarterback to Geno Smith. Geno reignites with Pete Carroll as old coach. You get a stud muffin like Ashton Genty in your backfield. You got Jacoby Myers, now you got Amari Cooper, who always wanted to come back to the Raiders organization. Man, for a minute I thought I was muted. I thought Gonzo was giving me that mute look. I had to move my mouse over. There's a lot of things with that Raiders organization that, they could be something special. And then you look up at the Chargers next. The one thing that worries me about the Chargers is can they stay healthy? Because they seem to that injury bug just seems to loom over that franchise for some odd reason. So if they can stay healthy, I think with Jim Harbaugh, I expect to see a lot out of that defense. I think Herbert should have a pretty good season if everybody stays healthy. Amari Hampton looks pretty nice over there as your running back. So I expect to see a lot of good things out of even them. And then you look at Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. That man just came off a sabbatical hanging out with Drew Brees, going over how to be a great quarterback and what it takes. I'm just saying, who knows? You can learn a lot. Bo Nix was already looking good. A little experience and being tall experience, it goes a long way. Look what Sean Payton did for Drew Brees when he first came over from San Diego, and nobody knew what to think about the situation. So same thing. Now you got Sean Payton, Bo Nix. Who's to say the same thing can't happen? And then you pair him up, with Williams and company over there. J.K. Dobbins and Sam Harvey, I think it is, that backup who's looking pretty good to press J.K. Dobbins for that starting role. So, Denver always looks really good. And then you go, and of course, then you got the Chiefs. Obviously, Rashee Rice is on a 6-game suspension. So you won't even see him to week 7, which that means that now they got rid of Skylar Moore. So that means now all the ownership falls on Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, and Jason Kelsey. Pacheco should do good in the backfield. You know, he was injured last season, so I expect to see some more, or I should say, better competition. You got Kareem Hunt. So the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs, right? I mean, that whole damn division, you know, looks like it's going to improve as a whole. I actually got Denver Broncos taking that division. I think Kansas City Chiefs come second, third, and then I think the Raiders round up at the end. So I mean, it's a lot of good stuff for that division.
Frankie, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I just want to let the fans out there that are watching us know that Jay meant to say Travis Kelce, not Jason Kelce. Jason's retired.
My bad, Travis. I apologize.
It's okay. That's what we're here for as backups for you, man. I'm pretty sure Chris heard the same thing. That's why Chris Mike's coming off.
Hey, look, I call Gonzo Tony and Tony Gonzo, so just let that sink in. It happens.
Yeah, all the time.
That's why we're a team. When one of us mess up, the other one comes in to pick them up. But for the AFC West, it's like a toss up, right? I mean, I agree with most of what Jay said. I mean, look at Kansas City. They showed a little bit of a downfall last year, and we said it many times with that hurt offensive line. That, you know, if you don't have a line to protect Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be big trouble for Kansas City Chiefs. And it's kind of like the Patriots when they had Tom Brady, right? When defenses were rushing Tom Brady and Tom Brady was always on his ass, he was always having trouble and losing games. So if you don't have a line to protect Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble for Kansas City. And I do believe that Kansas City is going to start having a downfall year, because I believe that this will be the last year for Travis Kelce. I think after this year, he's going to hang it up. I think he's going to come out with a bang this year. Don't get me wrong. He knows that he didn't play and really well last year. He wasn't really productive for for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's going to have a productive year this year. But I do think that, you know, he's going to ride out to the sunshines at the end of this season. So he's going to come up to Xavier Worthy, and everyone else around him can pick up for Travis Kelce when he's gone. But for this year, I do think that they do have a down year. I do think that they're going to be in second place this year. The Broncos showed really, really tremendous games last year with Bo Nix as a rookie. And like Jay said, going out and having Drew Brees in the offseason help you out and show you some ropes and stuff like that. It just goes to show the connection that Sean Payton has still after retirement with Drew Brees, to say, hey, this dude is good, but can you come in here and make him great? So, I mean, that's a good thing to have with Bo Nix and Denver with Sean Payton, to have, the Drew Brees come and help him out. So I do think that the Broncos can have a chance to win this division. I just don't think it's going to be just yet. It would be a fight between Kansas City and Denver to get second. I do think the Chargers win this division. I've been riding with the Chargers since last year. I do think they win this division, because let's not forget, Jay, the Chargers, despite being unhealthy and everything like that, the Chargers last year had the #1 defense in the NFL all season. So if they can continue that route and staying healthy on the offensive part of the ball, I do think that they can walk away with that division. I'm not going to say they're going to make the AFC Championship game or make the Super Bowl, but I do think that the Chargers could win this division behind Jim. And the last remaining team on that, the Raiders. Come on, man. The Raiders, like, I love Tom Brady, but he ain't building this team like he's some Robert Kraft or something like that. I don't. Their coach is a good coach. Steve Carroll's a good coach. Geno Smith's an okay quarterback. I'm not going to call him a great quarterback. I'm not going to call him a good quarterback. He's an okay quarterback, right? I just don't believe in these. You know, they have too much to deal with right now. You got literally the season's about to start, and you already got Jacoby Myers threatening for trade. That you can't have that going into the season. It's going to be too much. You know, okay, well, what are we going to do with Jacoby Myers? Well, we got a game. We need to focus on a game. Well, this dude is freaking coming to my office asking what's going on with the trade detail. It's going to be too much in the front office and other players around him. And can Geno Smith actually do what he did before with Pete Carroll? I don't know. But there's only one good player on that team. Well, two. You know, you got Max Crosby, but on the offensive part, Brock is a beast. And if he could continue to be a beast, Geno Smith's going to be good on his part. But I don't think that's good enough for them to win the division. So I got Chargers at first place. Second place is gonna be a little toss up between Denver and Chiefs. So I'm gonna just say tie second. I'm not gonna put a third. And then the last place, I'm gonna put Raiders.
Yeah, Frank, I almost agree with you. I think Denver, Kansas City, or the Chargers, either one, all three of them, I wouldn't be shocked if they won the division. I wouldn't be, but I'm going to go with Kansas City till somebody takes them out. I'm going to go with the Chargers second. I'm going to go Denver third, and the Raiders fourth. I like the Chargers. I'm a big Harbaugh fan. But I wouldn't be shocked if Denver, the Chargers, or Kansas City won the division. But I'll go with Kansas City till somebody unseats them.
You know, what's interesting to me though is if you notice that Travis Kelce though has slimmed down a lot since last year. I don't know if y'all noticed that he has slimmed down. So I'm guessing that's, you know, he had a little bit more weight on him last year. I think going to all those damn dinners and flying around and doing all the stuff that Taylor had him doing. I think that took a toll on him last year, which is why I think even though he had 1,000 yards, it still wasn't the same Travis Kelce as we've seen in the past. And I'm wondering, Frankie, maybe even in Gonzo, you know, I'm wondering, do you guys think that little bit of loss of weight and now that he's solidified an engagement, that, you know, he's more focused now on football and not so much the private life that he was living or is living? You know what I mean?
Oh no, I honestly think Travis Kelce's gonna come out this year with a bang. Like I said, he came out on social media knowing that he was trash last year, knowing that he wasn't productive for Kansas City, knowing that, because let's be real, you made it to the Super Bowl, but you didn't show up in the Super Bowl, right? The only way you showed up in the Super Bowl was with your fancy suit because your girlfriend was there. Okay, that's the only time you showed up in the Super Bowl. But once it was time to go play with pads on, you was nowhere to be found. Then social media comes out with everybody saying, well, was this the last year for Travis Kelce? And he's seen it. And he's like, no, you know what? I'm going to go one more year because I know I can play better. And I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to come out this year. He's going to play better. He's going to show us the Travis Kelce that he is. And let's not forget, he's got a haircut again, Jay. He's back to his former self with that haircut. Yeah. So, I mean, that says a lot with Travis Kelce.
I'm giving Travis 2 more years. I give him 2 more years in the league, and then I think he's done. I think he's got about 2 more in him. But I wouldn't give him more than that.
Chris, what do you think about the West?
I like the Los Angeles Chargers to win the West. They had a pretty good season last year, while holding back some last year with some injuries. Plus, when Harbaugh took that job over, they got rid of most of the receiving core. They got a little more depth at the receiver this year than they did. They made an upgrade at running back with getting Hampton, and they have a strong defense. I like the Chargers. I have Denver Broncos at number 2. I like Bo Nix a lot. I told you before he got drafted, I thought he was going to be the best pro quarterback out of that draft class. I told you that Broncos have a really good defense as well. I have the Chiefs at 3rd. I think they'll be right there to try to get 1st and 2nd. They're not going to be way back, but if you look at it, Mahomes, he's great, best quarterback in the league, but look at his numbers last year. His numbers last year wasn't great. Like it was a down year for him. Kelce had a down year. So and their receiving core is not that great. You lose Rashee Rice for a while. So I think the Chiefs could struggle a little bit toward the beginning of the season. And then the Raiders, I think, will be better than what they have been. I expect the improvement, but as tough as that division is, I still see them being in the bottom of the West.
Okay, let's move on to the North. We got Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. I'll go first, guys. I'm going to go with Baltimore first. I keep going back and forth on who's going to get second. I'm not sold on Cincinnati's defense, so I'm going to go Pittsburgh second, Cincinnati third, and Cleveland fourth. This is another division, though. If Cincinnati defense was to play well and with their offense, I mean, they could win that division. But I'm not sold on their defense, so I'm gonna take Baltimore winning that division. Chris, what do you think?
I'm taking the Cleveland Browns to win the division. They got the best quarterback in the division, in Joe Flacco.
He's on that stuff.
No, for this division, I like the Baltimore Ravens. I agree with you. I like the Ravens. Right behind the Ravens, I'd probably. This is going to be, real good division. I would probably go with Pittsburgh as well over Cincinnati, just because I think Pittsburgh has a more balanced team. Yeah, Cincinnati, Joe Burrow is great. We saw last year Joe Burrow had an MVP type season at quarterback. If you compare his numbers to anybody else, like his numbers was right there, could have been MVP, and his team didn't make the playoffs and had a losing record because the defense gives up 40 points a game. So it's hard for me to back the Bengals until I see how that defense looks. I'd have the Bengals at third, and then the Browns of course at the end. They're going to Brown like the Browns always do, and it's going to get more interesting there in probably about week 5 or 6 when Deshaun Watson is healthy and wants to come back. So it'll be interesting what all happens there with that drama.
Yeah. Frankie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Chris. This is going to be an interesting division. I absolutely love it, but I'm going to go a different route. I'm going to go Ravens at number 1. You know, Lamar Jackson having a fully healthy team, Derrick Henry being in the backfield, and they also got a good defense. You can never count down John in that defense. John always builds a good defense with the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm going to put them at number 1. But this is where it gets interesting, guys. I'm putting Cincinnati at number 2. I think Cincinnati and Joe Burrow comes out and they come back to form and what they were. Because let's not forget, they got their defensive guy back in Trey, right? They got Trey back. They got their leading sack guy back. They got the wide receivers. They got the running back. I do think if they can stay healthy and Joe Burrow don't get hurt, they can come out of this division second place. I do think that Pittsburgh ends up in third. And the only reason why is because of an old, unhealthy Aaron Rodgers. I hate Aaron Rodgers with all my heart. I hope he breaks his Achilles again 4 seconds into the game in game 1, not 4 minutes, 4 seconds. As soon as you run into that field, I want to see him, like running out into that field, like, my Achilles, I can't even play, Mike. Like, I'm going to look at it and say that's what you get. So I think they're going to end up in third place. And then like Gonzo said, man, the Browns are always going to be the Browns, right? You wasted all your money on one guy. I think that's dumb. But the Browns are going to be in last place. So let's not be surprised that they go 0-16 because they don't even know who Joe Flacco's our quarterback. But how long is Joe Flacco going to be your quarterback? Or like Gonzo said, Deshaun Watson comes back week 5. Will Cleveland end up being that team and saying, "Oh, the hell with Joe Flacco, let's get Deshaun Watson back in there"? That'll be retarded and dumb. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say retarded, but it is. But yeah, Ravens at 1, Cincinnati 2, Steelers 3, and Browns at 4.
Okay. Jay, what do you think?
Excellent pick. Sounds great.
I like that. That's a good reasoning, Jay.
Yeah, you're not that smart. Calm down. I'm not that smart either. That's why I can't remember that stuff. But you know what? It just shows that the show is everybody's happy, and I'm being muted, so everybody's happy, so everybody's good. So we're leave it at that.
You make your best point when you're muted.
That's fine. I will let, you know what? You're old. I will let you have yours. I'm like, I was told to respect my elders. I'm gonna respect my elders. No, here's my thing. Obviously, the Browns are the Browns. I got them dead last. I'm going to talk about them. It really comes down to, and obviously Baltimore is going to be number 1. I don't see anybody taking Baltimore out of that number 1 spot in this division. It really comes down to who's going to be second, who's going to be third, and who's going to position us up the best. Either you're going to go with the Steelers or you're going to go with the Bengals. I think the Steelers have the better coach, but I just don't believe in Aaron Rodgers anymore. I just don't. I don't know when he left the Packers, went to the Jets, that just kind of everything else with the Jets organization. I mean, I've never seen anybody do well with the Jets organization other than Joe Namath, but that's neither here nor there. I just feel like Cincinnati has the better deal, right? The only thing I'm not sure about is looking at their depth chart. Shamar Stewart is in the number 2 spot at the defensive end. I figure he's at number 1 spot. But they don't have him on the depth chart at number 1. Now, that might just be a typo. Maybe they're not quantified or they're not updated or not. I hope that Shamar is playing because it seems like they went through all of this trouble to get this man on this team. For him not to be a starter is crazy to me. So I'm assuming he's going to start. So I'm going to go with that. Shamar is starting opposite of Hendrickson. And I do feel like that Cincinnati is going to take that number 2 spot. I think Burrow, Higginson, I feel like that team is just better positioned. I feel like DK Metcalf is good. Framework is good at the tight end spot, but I feel like there are other wide receivers. I just don't know enough about them, to be honest with you. And the fact that you don't have what I believe is a wide receiver number 2 to complement DK, at least for what I've seen so far, I think that's going to be their Achilles heel. And so for that reason, I am going to go Cincinnati at the number 2 spot with Steelers at number 3, and obviously Browns last.
I think it's funny you said Achilles heel on a team where Aaron Rodgers is in.
All right, guys, let's go to the South. That's the final division here in the AFC. We got Houston, we got Indy, we got Jacksonville, and Tennessee. Frankie, what do you think?
Yeah, man, this is kind of like, and I think I could relate, or you guys can relate to me on this one. I think this is like the AL Central, right, of baseball. It's like a bunch of like, and I'm not trying to say that because of you guys. I know you guys are in that division, Tony and Chris. But I just think that it's like the AL Central of baseball with this division. I do think Houston walks away with this division, but I'm not going to sleep on the Colts because the Colts could have taken this division last year late in the season. So my number 1 and number 2 is set. It's gonna be Houston and the Colts at 1 and 2, but it could flip. It could flip depending on how Daniel Jones do. I'm not gonna say Indiana Jones. I don't know why you guys say that, but a Daniel Jones. Don't be raising your fist. That's nothing to raise your fist about. Raising your fist over there.
I don't know no Daniel Jones. All I know is Indiana Jones.
It's so funny. You know that Tony is so small when you can raise your fist up and still see the whole arm and hand in the camera.
Screen.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. But
that's what it is when you're 4 foot tall.
It could flip, guys. It could flip because you guys were close to winning that division last year. I do think Houston wins it this year, though. I think C.J. Stroud plays a little bit better like he did his rookie year, especially with some of his key players coming back from injury. How effective will that be for him? And then, having the cancer that is now on my team away from your team. So I think that's going to be effective as well. Colts at number 2, and then 3 or 4, it really doesn't matter to me. I think Tennessee is going to finish last, honestly. I'm not saying this because of Cam Ward. I believe in Cam Ward. They just don't have nobody for him offensively. They don't have any top-tier weapons for Cam Ward to be successful with. So I think that they're going to be last. And who's the other team in your division?
Jacksonville.
Yeah, there you go. They're number 3.
Yeah. Chris, let's go to you. What do you think?
I have the Tennessee Titans as being last. I think they'll be. I agree with Frankie. I think Cam Ward is probably going to be a pretty good quarterback, but I think this year is going to be a little bit of struggle. They just don't have the guys around them. And third, I would have the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's hard for me to believe in Trevor Lawrence. Last couple of years, he hasn't looked like a guy that's a franchise quarterback. And they have a new coach, a lot of new stuff, new GM. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Second, I got the Houston Texans in second, and then I have the Indianapolis Colts winning the division. Like Frankie said, we were close the last 2 years. We've been basically one game behind them with having a quarterback that completed 43% of his passes. This year, I think we'll have better quarterback play. I really do. I know people say Jones is terrible. He sucks. He won a playoff game before. We don't have a quarterback on our roster that's won a playoff game before beside him. He also that year had 20-something touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. And I believe he hasn't been on a roster, this good of a roster in New York. Yeah, he had Saquon at running back, but he has better weapons around him in Indianapolis. And I think our Indianapolis defense is going to be better than we were last year. I think we win 11, 12 games this year, so I have the Colts winning the South.
Man, I'll go next. It's tough for me because I think Houston is a good club, but I think Indy's going to be better. Are they going to be good enough? I think it depends on a couple of things. I think it depends on our run defense. It's got to be stronger. I think our offensive line will do well. So I think Jones, if he stays healthy, will play pretty well. That's a toss-up for me. Houston's offensive line was bad last year. Did they do enough to fix it? It's a toss-up, so I'm going to go with my team. I'm going to go with the Colts. since it's a toss-up. But I wouldn't be shocked if Houston won the division. I really want. I do think both teams have got a shot to make the playoffs. So I'm intrigued by Jacksonville. I mean, they've got talent on that team. I just don't know if they're going to put it together or not. So we'll see with Jacksonville. But I'll say Jacksonville third, Tennessee fourth, Houston second, and I'm going to go with the Colts. But I think it's A-B there. I think it could go either way. Jay, what do you think?
What do I think? I think you guys are freaking killing me right now is what I think. I mean, nothing, and I don't want to knock on you guys because I think you just figured out who your damn quarterback is. All of a sudden, you figure out who your quarterback is. All of a sudden, how Houston just went from top of the division down to the second part of the division. I don't know, man. That just kind of it's crazy. It's crazy. I can't. Nothing against Danny Dimes. I think Danny Dimes. He showed he can ball. He has good numbers out there in New York. I don't want to put him down, but I mean, I don't know, man. I need to see how Danny Dimes plays with the Colts offensive line. With their one thing, he's got a good running back in Jonathan Taylor. He's got a semi-decent wide receiver one and Pittman Jr. After that, it kind of falls off. But you do have a good wide tight end that you just drafted in Tyler Warren. I mean, I think it's going to be great. So, but your defense, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know much about your defense to really comment on your defense. I don't really know your guys all that well, so I can't really comment on that. I definitely know that Tennessee is going to be dead last. Jacksonville will be the next one up. And I got it until I see something out of the Colts that says you guys are the next team. All right, now I got Colts at number 2 and Houston number 1. But what I will say is this. I do think that the Colts make the playoffs. I don't think they make it as a divisional winner, but I think they make it as a wild card. I definitely think you guys make the playoffs. I think you make the playoffs. And I think the other wild card team is going to come out of is it the West, right? The West is the one that has the Chiefs in it, right? So I think one of those teams, you know, that we talked about in that division is going to be the other wild card. You know what I'm saying? So I think you guys are wild card. I don't think you get the division.
That's very possible. I mean, I think our receivers went because our offense was weird last year. I mean, we hit a lot of deep plays because we had 3 receivers last year that had over 800 yards receiving. So, but because it's weird because he threw a lot of deep passes, he just couldn't hit a short pass to save his life. So It was deep or nothing. But I think a big addition if he plays all year and healthy. I think the tight end's going to be. I think Warren's going to be a big addition. I wouldn't be surprised if he don't lead the team in receptions. I would not be shocked.
Yeah,
because I really think he's that good. So I think that's an upgrade. I think our offensive line is going to be good. I don't think Jones has had that kind of offensive line in a while. So I think Jones being on a better team is going to help elevate Jones. So is he going to be a superstar quarterback? I'm not saying that, but I think he's going to be better than what we had. And we wasn't that far from the playoffs last year. I mean, we went down to the last 2 games and it was still in the hunt. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be fun.
Hey Jay, do you know what the Colts record was last year against the Houston Texans with the quarterback that completed 40% of his passes?
Oh, I just want to hear you say it because you look so intense right now.
Houston was 0-2 versus the weak ass Indianapolis Colts last year. And
I didn't say you're weak ass. I didn't say you're weak ass.
Hey, I'm talking.
Push the mic back.
Against the Colts that you act like Houston is just so much better than they won the division over us by 1 game because we blew games. If Jonathan Taylor don't drop the damn ball as he's walking into the end zone against the Broncos,
why'd you have to bring that?
We win the division and make the playoffs. So I think you're giving the Texans more respect than what maybe they really deserve.
Real quick though, now I will say this: I'm not going to dispute what you're saying, but we just brought in CJ Garner Johnson. And Stingley is a Houston fan.
When did you become a Houston Texans fan?
No, I don't mean we as we as a team. I'm talking about. Oh my!
He is a Houston everything, isn't he?
I thought he had a mouse in his pocket.
No, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I'm just talking about the Texans in general. I apologize. No, I'm a Cowboys fan. Don't fuck you if you say differently.
He's thinking about
listen. You know what? Here's the thing. I do get offended when somebody says that to me because I've been through 30 years of depression. And so it's almost like a badge of honor that I wear my depression up that I've been with my team for so long. So it does hurt when somebody says that because it's like you're negating all the years of pain that I've gone through. Don't do that. I won't do that to you. Don't do that to me. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I take pride in my pain. But no, seriously, I want to get back. So they got CJ Gardner-Johnson and Stingley, which are two really. I mean, obviously Stingley's a linebacker, but he does come with a lot of interceptions. So I don't know, man. I mean, I just want to see what Daniel Jones does with this team before I get into that driver's seat to say he's better than the Texans.
I understand that. Well, again, my question is still the offensive line. They tried to fix it, Houston. Did they get the job done? I don't know. Their offensive line. Stroud didn't have a great year last year, but a lot of it was coach's offensive line. I mean, he was a protector for crap last year, and so if the offensive line protects better, I think Stroud gets back on track. So it's going to be interesting, guys. Should be a lot of fun. Chris, I had a question for you. Go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say quickly is I think it's funny that Gonzo waited until Jay was fully. Hey, can you get out of here? I'm talking. I think it was funny that Gonzo waited an entire segment for Jay to finish, for him to just like he held on to the one little thing that Jay said in the beginning of his segment.
Yeah.
Said, "Oh, I'm gonna hold on to this for a minute." Got to the end and said, "All right, this is my turn." As soon as it came to happen, Jay tried to interrupt. A kid runs in the background. Jay mutes himself and moves his mic. The kid runs out of the room saying, "Oh no, I heard Daddy screaming. I'm out of here." It was like a perfect moment. I love that moment. We need more of that moment.
A kid ran in the background where? Behind me?
Yeah, behind you. Yeah.
It sure as hell wasn't behind me.
I didn't even see him come in the room.
Yeah, he opened the door. You told Jay, "I'm talking, Jay. I'm talking."
Hey, yesterday he comes in the room.
You ever see the meme where the kid's walking down the hallway and he sees something bad? He goes,
Yesterday,
He felt like I was talking to him, but I was talking to Jay.
yesterday that little kid came in the room. He's behind Chris. He goes over and pushes that button that says, "What's up, motherfucker?" Oh, it was funny.
I think he's learning from the interruptions of this podcast.
Chris, I had a question. I know Illinois college. He's on TV right now. The coaches and they're talking to him, but they're ranked 11th, and they play Duke this week. They're only a 3.5 point favorite over Duke. If Illinois is that good, you're just a 3.5 point favorite over Duke. Is Duke really that good?
I wouldn't think Duke would be that good. Maybe they just don't know enough about Illinois yet.
Why don't you ask your quarterback? You think Duke is that good? Y'all wouldn't sign a Duke quarterback. Ridiculous. Can we stop? Can we stop with the goddamn names? His name is Daniel Jones. It's not Danny Dimes. All right, I don't see him throwing dimes. He's not no Indiana Jones. It's disrespect to Harrison Ford. All right, we need to stop with the nicknames of this guy.
I'll call him Indiana Dimes.
Don't do that. That's just even more. Oh,
I'm gonna start calling him Daniel Cruz.
That's disrespectful to the Indians back in the past that actually had to find dimes. That's just disrespecting them now. Going to call them Indiana Dimes. That's just disrespectful. Just call him Daniel. I bet you he's the type of person that's his middle name is Keith. Daniel Keith Jones. I bet.
We'll just call him Indy for short.
I'm sorry, Harrison Ford. If you are watching, I apologize for the disrespect that my colleagues have sent out over there in Indianapolis. We don't all fully believe that he's a true Indiana Jones. We know he can't find success like you did.
I'm sure Harrison Ford's going to watch this shit.
I guarantee Mr. Harrison Ford that Daniel Jones, when he sees a big linebacker coming up from behind him like it's that big rolling ball that was chasing you, Daniel Jones won't get away like you did, Mr. Harrison Ford.
Hey, don't you have to be at the
Not today. His mom gets him today. I don't have to pick him up today. Hey guys, that's all I've got. If you guys are ready to get out of here, I'll save the hot seat for tomorrow.
We're gonna do an NFC tomorrow.
Yep, do the NFC tomorrow. And then Friday we'll go over the NFL games and some college football. We'll talk about Thursday night football tomorrow too. Talk about how Philadelphia's gonna crush some Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Chris,
pretty much.
Did you see the big announcement AEW made today?
No. Oh, you know I don't
Couple
follow AEW.
One announcement was that they're going to start streaming their pay-per-views on HBO Max, but it's still going to cost $39 if you would to stream it. So you get a $10 discount because you're a member of HBO Max because you pay the $10 for that. So they're going to discount $10. Big whoop on that. The next thing is since WrestlePalooza, WWE moved to that Saturday. They changed the time of their pay-per-view away from them and going to start at 3:00 in the afternoon to get away from WWE pay-per-view.
AEW's gonna start their pay-per-view at 3:00 in the afternoon
Yep, in Toronto.
on a
They
Saturday.
moved
Is that a Saturday or a Sunday?
That's Saturday.
That's stupid. That's stupid.
In Toronto.
They did that. I think last month they did that when I want to say it was SummerSlam weekend, I believe, when they had Wrestle Collide with the AAA and then the NXT pay-per-view in one night.
Yeah.
That was that Saturday night. AEW did the same thing. They started at 3 to challenge the AAA, and they lasted all day.
Well, that one that they did, the one pay-per-view they had was in London, so they had to start early. Toronto, they really don't have to. He just wants to move away from. I think it shows you weak, man.
Well,
I
not just that. Back then, a couple months ago, you didn't have college football going on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Saturday
Yes.
at 3:00. That's a terrible decision.
Yeah,
I
if
think-
anything, 3:00 games. That's like big time games right there at 3:00.
That's right in the middle of college football. Like that's not. I think that's a bad decision.
Yeah, I'd have kept it where it was, and most AEW fans are going to purchase the AEW. And everybody thought, well, they're going to go on Max and it's going to be for free. No, it's not, because in that Max deal that they signed with AEW, they got a percentage of the pay-per-views. They signed into that contract and they got a percentage. It was like 10, 15, or 20% of the pay-per-view money.
It makes sense on why they switched it from Sunday to Saturday too, because they don't want to put an AEW pay-per-view on the same day where they have to focus on the Jaguars.
And, yeah, that's true. Jaguars have no trouble.
Because they had so much belief that the Jaguars are gonna do something. They're saying, hey, listen, well, let's push this back a day, because we're gonna be in Canada. I want to be there, Dad. I want to be there to see Travis Hunter, get a touchdown or get an interception in one game.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any truth to this or not. Have y'all seen? I've heard reports where they were talking about Shiloh possibly signing on with Dallas, or Dallas might pick up Shiloh. I hope that's not true, but that's some of the things
not
I've been
true.
hearing.
That sounds like something a hardcore Dallas. That's something that Joe will probably post up on the Dallas Cowboys fan base Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, right, Jay. Thank you for agreeing with me.
Well, you know, though, I swear to God, dude, I could almost see at some point Shiloh and Shador on Dallas's team. I don't know why. I just feel like that's something that Jerry Jones would do. And somehow or another, I figure that Dion would make his way over to some kind of coaching position with the Cowboys. I don't know why, but I feel like that's something that's going to happen. I don't know why, but I feel like
I was surprised Dallas didn't take him in the draft once he dropped so far. Once he
me
got
too.
past the third round, I was surprised they didn't take him the fourth or fifth round. I really was. I'm not.
No, I agree with you 100%.
I thought Dallas was going to take him at 14 last year.
14, but I definitely thought maybe around like a late fourth that Dallas might, take a peek in that fourth round. I was really surprised they didn't, honestly.
Jay, before we get out of here, I do have a question for you, because I know you like Dion. What was he thinking in that game Friday night coaching? You got the ball with 1:30 left. You have 2 timeouts, and you never use one of your freaking timeouts.
Oh my God.
Oh, you talking about in the Longhorns game?
No, talk about Deion Sanders and Colorado.
Oh, Dion. I'm sorry. I apologize, Dion.
They're,
I
they're
didn't
down,
see that game, to be honest with you.
they're down either 27-20, or I forget what it was. I think they was down 7. But they got the ball, got a chance, moving the ball downfield. A minute 30 left, and you don't use a timeout. And you got 2 timeouts, and you don't use it.
Yeah, I don't know
I
why
don't
you
know.
wouldn't use your timeouts.
They asked him in the press conference, well, I didn't need to because we got first downs, I got time off there, we went out of bounds, we didn't need to use timeout. Well, you didn't score, so maybe you needed to use timeouts. You didn't fucking score.
I think it's because the radiation actually got to his brain.
I don't know why, I mean, honestly, I don't know why you wouldn't use your timeouts to make sure that your plays are correct, to make sure everybody's, seeing what they're seeing on the field. I don't know why you wouldn't use them. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Especially with a minute and a half left. You figure, even with the use of the timeouts, you're still going to run that clock down quite a bit. Before if he was thinking, well, maybe if I use my timeouts and we score, but maybe we only get a field goal, then they have time to come back. Maybe I can use my timeouts. I don't know what was going through his brain. I probably would have used the timeouts just to make sure that my players or make sure we got the right play in, the right play in the field. But whatever.
They got straight
All
to
right.
the defense. They ran for over 300 yards.
Tony and Jay, shut the hell up. Tony Jay, shut your mouth. Chris want to say something. Go ahead, Chris. Do you speak
Oh no, I'm just waiting for them to get done so I can end it.
Let's get out of here.
Hey, Chris, I got one more thought. Chris. You ready? It's only one thought, Chris. Just one.
That's best thought he's had all day.